Well, we're joined now by Kari Knight-Stevens. She is the managing counsel for Cigna. Kari, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
So, Kari, we're 6 years into the Affordable Care Act, right? So what are some of the biggest topics that employers are dealing with now?
There's still a lot of hot topics under healthcare reform after 6 years, but the big ones this year have been reporting under the ACA, wellness programs, and the delay of the 40% excise tax or the Cadillac tax.
Now, can you share some of the big learnings from the first year of the IRS reporting requirements under the Affordable Care Act?
Sure, the initial reporting has gone in, employers have gone through the process, but what we learned, it was a really big administrative burden for employers because they had to get information from a lot of different sources, as well as their tax preparers. So the administrative burden, there's some work to do on the IRS side with their reporting systems, and there's also some open issues around things like getting Social Security numbers. So a lot of learnings, and going into next year, employers should get their paperwork ready, use open enrollment as an opportunity to get data, and hopefully there'll be some improvements and instructions coming from the government as well.
So speaking of employers, what are some of the things they really need to know about the new wellness regulations?
Right, so the wellness regulations, there are new regulations under the Americans with Disabilities Act and Gina, and those interplay with the Affordable Care Act regulations that have been in place for a few years. Big picture, employers just need to know that the rules differ in several respects, and compliance with one rule doesn't mean compliance with all, so they really have to look at each rule and make sure they're complying.
Now let's talk about the Cadillac tax, right? So there's this 40% excise tax, the Cadillac's tax. Are we supposed to be reading into this 2-year delay? What's the word here?
I think we should be. So the Cadillac tax has been delayed for 2 years, from 2018 to 2020. And I think there are two main reasons. First, it's really complex, and this gives the government some time to figure out what it's going to look like and how it's going to actually be administered, because there are a lot of open issues. But also there's been a lot of efforts from employers and groups like the Alliance to Fight the 40, which Cigna is a part of, to get the Cadillac tax repealed, or if not repealed, significantly modified. So I think there are some changes on the horizon around that.
Now, with all these provisions continuing to show up and unfold, are there any resources that employers might want to know or be aware of to help with their responsibilities?
Absolutely. At Cigna, we have a great team called the Healthcare Reform Consulting and Communications Team, and we have our flagship resource, informedonreform.com. I encourage your listeners to go on there, and they'll find all the information they need, and hopefully that'll help them comply with healthcare reform.
It's been enlightening as always. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
Appreciate you being here.
Appreciate it.